Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the gradient tool. We did a couple of gradients before in Illustrator, and it works pretty much the same. There are a couple of differences. One, we're going to make all of our gradients and selections. Now, you don't have to make a selection. You don't have to make a selection to do a gradient, but we're going to do it this way. So I've made a circle gradient using my ellipse tool. And I just did an image rotation to make our canvas landscape instead of portrait under the image menu. And I chose the gradient tool, but I want to edit the gradient in the editor menu. And I just picked one of the color stops, those little swatches underneath the gradient bar. And I'm just picking my own custom colors. I've always liked the gradient from magenta to orange. So I'm going to test that out. I'm going to hit OK. And then click hold and drag to make a linear gradient. By default, this is set up in linear gradient, but you have a lot of, I think there's 5 different types of gradients you can pick. So we click and drag. And I'm going to choose a radial gradient this time. Notice that one has a rounded, or starts out in kind of like this sunburst circular pattern. I can adjust and add in a color stop by clicking anywhere there isn't one on the gradient area. So I've added in a blue color stop to add into my gradient. And now I'm going to duplicate that selection, not duplicate, but just move that selection over, make a new layer. And now I want to try and see what it looks like as an angled gradient. I've always liked the angled gradient. It has this kind of like really cool 3D effect to it. And then I'm going to drag over my selection again with the ellipse marquee tool, just drag it over. Make a new layer, or I forgot to make a new layer, but that's okay. And this time I'm going to do a mirrored gradient. It kind of takes on this Jupiter-like feeling, right? Planetary feeling. And I'm going to keep doing this to test gradients out. I would like for you to do in your class exercise at least try to place 6 gradients on, I think this is 8.5 by 11 canvas. And I'm just going to pick and customize these colors again. And so I'm picking the color stops again to get my color picker out. And pick some new custom colors. And we're going to see how these new custom colors look. There's a linear gradient there. Notice that green is very close, almost like a line of green right butted up against that lighter blue. And that all has to do with the spacing in your gradient. If your color stops are very close together, you'll get this very hard line. There's a radial gradient. Notice that first one I picked and drug out from the center. I can actually adjust my color stops. You can see I can rearrange them. I wanted to pick one where maybe have the darker color in the center and see what that looks like. Almost looks like it's lit from the front there, or the back. I kind of like that green halo in the background. That's really nice. Gonna drag that over, that same selection, make a new layer. And let's see what an angled gradient looks like. Really cool. Okay guys, let's see what this looks like again. I'm going to make a new canvas. I'm going to rotate this. I always like to fill my backgrounds with black, by the way, because I think gradients, or at least the gradients here, just show up a lot better. There you see I accidentally applied a gradient to an entire layer, so just goes to show you that you don't need selections to make a gradient work, right? I just like to have samples, and I think samples are easier done with selections. So I'm going to pick some colors. You see that I just deleted a color stop just by clicking on it and dragging it off the gradient bar there. Very easy to do if you just click and drag. There goes another one. And let's see what this red and blue give me. I really like that angled gradient. Always like that effect. And again, this is a good test. I mean, these types of effects can serve as a background. They can serve as your main point, a focal point. Really simple way to get interesting backgrounds and color gradients using the gradient tool. There's a nice sphere looking one, a nice 3D effect. There I just added in by clicking on an empty spot. Maybe pick a new color. See what happens. Oh, I'm moving the colors really close together. Did you see that? I'm gonna move this right up against. In fact, I've added in some more color stops. That same color, just to see what it looks like. Here we have a very thin sliver of that light blue. I don't know if I like that. Nope, I didn't do it. So here's what that looks like. It almost looks like, as I do this and see it happening, it almost looks like a red disc on top of a sphere, which is kind of a cool effect. I know I've seen some cupcakes that look like this, at least on the frosting. And of course, everything relates to desserts, right? It always goes back to food with me. I need to fix the sweet tooth I have. Anyway, have fun with the gradient tool, and we will see you next time.